Welcome to Kyle for a while. This is your host, Kyle Willie. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but I used to be the assistant manager for a music store for about 4 years that specialized in vinyl records. After that, I owned my own record store for a little while. Again, specializing in vinyl records, although we did sell, films as well, maybe a few books. But avid vinyl collector. I sold off my whole entire collection in the store. I had 4,000 in my personal collection. That's LPs. I had then obtained with a partner about another 9,000. So that was our starting, kind of thing. After the store closed, I didn't have any vinyl records for a while. Now I'm back to collecting again, and we're going to do an episode called Crate Diggin'. What Crate Diggin' is I'll go through and talk about some new vinyls that I've obtained semi-recently that are important for various reasons, and then I'll tell you why. And I'm just going to go through my crates here in kind of alphabetical order and give you a little rundown. Okay, so here's the first one that catches my eye. There's this band, A Radio with Guts. They had an album called Beat Heart Sweet Stereo. It was released in the Netherlands. It's punk rock. It's not typically the kind of music that I listen to, but this album holds a lot of nostalgia for me. I was also friends with some people locally that had a song called A Radio with Guts because of this album. Their band was called Ruin Horse. You should check out some Ruin Horse if you get the chance. But songs like Tragic Music, Whiskey Dawn, Werewolf Weather on this Beat Heart Sweet Stereo. It's really good, kind of relationship-y album. What it's like to be alive and young and dumb and full of cum, like they always say. It was put out on an album record label called Stardom Records, and like the word dumb, in 2002. Just a really good band. Except for they decided to go back and do acoustic versions of their original punk songs, which wasn't a good idea. But yeah, that album sticks out to me. I would definitely recommend that to somebody. Good old buddy that used to run a blog called Cosmic Hearse, which I don't believe any longer exists. He used to share very rare recordings I grabbed from him. Was the drummer temporarily for Agalloch on one of their albums. My favorite album of theirs is Ashes Against the Grain. Ashes Against the Grain has a song called Falling Snow that might be one of the best United States recorded black metal songs of the time period of its release. It was 2016. Definitely the most memorable guitar lead that I've ever heard. It gets stuck in my head constantly. It's a very good winter listen. If we get a big snow, I'll usually jam this whole album while driving around in the snow because it's fun. Let's dig further in my crates, get a little bit past the tip of the pile here. Um, okay, so here's a really good release. I know I've mentioned them before. Black Marble, It's Immaterial from 2016. Snagged this quite a while back. They're electronic, a little bit of rock. They're a post-punk, maybe cold wave kind of band, formed in 2012 in Brooklyn, New York. Um, it's a really good album. Uh, they've got a new album out I have yet to hear, but I'll probably just go ahead and order it because I expect it to be good. I also have a different arrangement by Black Marble, so Black Marble fan. Oh, I snagged Boards of Canada Campfire Head Phase. This is a good one. It's not always everybody's favorite Boards of Canada album, but it's my favorite. Do this electronic ambient down tempo music if you're unfamiliar. Um, it's Mike Sadison and Marcus Yoyne. Hope I'm saying that right. They're from Edinburgh, Scotland, UK. Um, Also, what's interesting about Boards of Canada is that their name derives from the National Film Board of Canada. Um, since I'm a big film buff, I just happen to know that. But that's just really cool when musicians and filmmakers and, there's that overlap of music and film. It's really cool. Oh, here's a good one. Okay, Bobby Humphrey's Blacks and Blues. Bobby Humphrey is a jazz flautist. She plays the flute. Her name's Barbara Ann Humphrey, but she goes by Bobby Humphrey. Um, she's from Marlin, Texas, and she's one of the first female instrumentalists signed to Blue Note Records in 1971. Had a successful solo career and recorded with Duke Ellington, Stevie Wonder, a lot of people. But this Blacks and Blues album really stands head and shoulders above anything that I've heard her do. Definitely recommend if you're into jazz, if you're into the flute, check out Bobby Humphrey, Blacks and Blues. Let's dig further into my LPs here. Go past some Boris, some Boy Harsher, and some things. Oh, this has been on heavy rotation since I grabbed it. So I grabbed two albums from this band, Captain Beyond. Always liked Captain Beyond. I grabbed Sufficiently Breathless and Dawn Explosion, which are probably the two that everyone tends to grab, if not their self-titled first release. But Sufficiently Breathless is their second album, and that's the one that I've had on heavy rotation lately. So if you're unfamiliar with Captain Beyond, they're like jazz rock, psychedelic rock, progressive rock, a little experimental. Sometimes their lyrics can be a little bit dark. They're from Los Angeles, California. They formed in '71. They had a former member of Iron Butterfly and Deep Purple. The drummer was Bobby Caldwell, who played for Johnny Winter and Rick Derringer. So it's really fucking good, basically, is what you can say about that. Almost any like Deep Purple members that went on to do other albums or like pre-Deep Purple projects, like Warhorse Red Sea sticks out as another one that I put there with Captain Beyond, Sufficiently Breathless to be, some of those members doing some amazing stuff, and I believe them to be better than anything that Deep Purple ever did. Man, I hate the next record to be another one that I want to mention, but it is. I just got this in the mail the other day. It's a car seat headrest, Teens of Denial. Um, it's indie rock, 2016. A little bit of a punk element to it as well. Um, I had not heard of car seat headrest until everybody started doing their end of the decade lists and saying what albums were like the best of the last, decade. And this was high up on a lot of people's lists, so I thought I'd give it a listen. And it is a phenomenal album. It really is. My only problem with it, and what would keep me from understanding why people want this to be album of the decade, is that it is severely long for the type of music it is. Um, the songs, you would expect them to be 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, some like 5 minutes, 8 minutes long, like ridiculously long. There's 12 fucking tracks on this, and it takes forever to get through. It's like by the time you finish listening to it, like you're pretty much, you know, tired of it, which stinks because even the songs at the end are good. Um, and songs come out of nowhere that kind of sound different than the rest of what they were doing. I'm not sure what their idea was behind the album, but it stays consistently interesting. It's too much. I find it to be a very heavy listener. Um, it's the project of a Seattle singer-songwriter named Will Barnes. He also calls himself Will Toledo. Um, but yeah, there's something endearing about this album. I wouldn't get rid of it, but definitely won't listen to it in its entirety. It's one of those things where I just want to pick some songs off of it and listen to it, which I hate to do. I usually like to listen to albums in their intended song order and the whole thing as an experience. And maybe I'll do that at a time when I have a lot more time to pay attention to it. But on first listen, I thought it to be very, 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 very long. Let's pass through here a little bit. Okay, so checking out some of these year-end lists, I grabbed Cherry Glazer. It was a blind buy. The album Stuffed and Ready. Something about the album title and the fact that it's a female and that she's got a sense of humor kind of made me want to check her out a little bit. And she's on Secretly Canadian, which is a pretty good record label. So I didn't listen to her at all. I just blindly dove in, see what I would get, and I was very surprised. But a lot of people have said that this is not her best album or her best work, or that it lacks the passion of some of her earlier albums. I've yet to listen to those earlier albums to know, but I don't see anything wrong with this release. I thoroughly enjoyed every song on it. I did not find it to be bland. It's a Los Angeles rock band consisting of three members, guitarist, vocalist, someone for percussion, and a bass player. No good, no like dedicated guitarist or anything like that. I think everybody goes to Apocalyptic is her best album, but I've yet to hear that, so I can't comment on it. Man, I am not going to get out of these C's. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Choir Boy. Choir Boy has an album called Passive with Desire. This is one of the best lo-fi, indie rock, electronic rock albums I have probably ever heard in my life. I love this album. If I was to get rid of a majority of my records, this would be one of the ones that would be really, really hard to get rid of. Songs like Two Lips, Blood Moon, uh, just so many good songs on this fucking album. It is amazing. Um, I guess they list themselves as dream pop and synth pop. They're from Salt Lake City, Utah. They consist of Adam Klopp, who does vocals, synth, guitar, piano, percussion, sequencing. Katrina Marie Rick Peterson does vocals. Brett Maschenbach, I guess, does guitars. Jacob Hall does drums. Kyle Hooper does keys. And Chaz Costello does bass with strings by Alyssa Piper. This band, if I ever get the chance to see them, which I hope that I do, I'm going to see them. They're on Deus Records, which is a new record label that I'm starting to get into. Maybe not necessarily new, but new to me. They've got some pretty good bands on their roster. I'll scroll down a little bit more, digging through these crates. Grab Count 5, Psychotic Reaction. You just have to own that album. I'm not going to talk about it. If you don't know about it, you don't deserve to. Or you can just check it out on your own. I guess I'm being kind of mean. Always a big Danny Brown fan. Didn't grab his newest release. It was a little short for me, and I don't know that it's worth owning on vinyl. It's a really good album, but it's really short. Seems like there's a little bit of filler in there. Not quite as many bangers that you would like to see. Detroit-based rapper. Been listening to him since the get-go. Bruiser Brigade. But for some reason, I no longer owned a copy of Old. Grabbed it off the internet. It came autographed, which is pretty cool, I guess. I don't really seek out autographed vinyls, but if you're into that thing, got an autographed Danny Brown album. For a while, his Twitter picture was actually, a friend of mine did a watercolor painting of Danny Brown. I hung up in my studio, and I sent a picture of it to him on Twitter, and he had that as his profile picture for about a week. That was pretty cool. Let's see. Stick past this Dead Can Dance, Dead Kennedys. Death Heaven, Sunbather. Came out in 2013. This was a new one to me. I had not listened to much Sunbather. They're kind of a mix between shoegaze and black metal. So immediately I was like, fuck yes, and thought that I would check them out. And they're an American band, from overseas. They're San Francisco based. Began as a two-piece. Don't think that's the case anymore. But Sunbather, man, that thing hits hard, and it has all the sounds that I love about shoegaze, from Slow Dive to My Bloody Valentine, mixed in with black metal. It's a really good meshing of the two genres, and I can't tout it enough. Let's look here. The Delphonics. Man, their self-titled album, they re-released it in May of 2019 on Music on Vinyl. That's how I obtained it. And man, the Delphonics. It's a Philadelphia soul group. that were active in the late 60s until the mid 70s. They're considered one of the first silky and sweet soul groups, pioneering a trend within the soul circles with the soft and lush male vocal harmonies that were in the first half of the 70s. There was a legendary Philadelphia team that wrote most of their music, Stan and Bell, or Tom Bell and Stan Watson, and their lead vocalist, William Hart. Um, Later, they'd be sampled by Wu-Tang Clan, Notorious B.I.G., Boyz II Men, Missy Elliott, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, all kinds of stuff. Actually, I don't even know if those are samples or as much as they just helped write stuff for them. Either way, fucking Delphonics. They're amazing, and their self-titled release is beyond compare. Grabbed Deltron 3030 for obvious reasons. Just found that up in Chicago when I went to go see Clan of Zymont, so I had to grab that for nostalgic purposes. Demon Fuzz Africa come out as a re-release in 2017 on Janus Records. Demon Fuzz is an Afro rock group, but it has jazz elements in it. They formed in '68, broke up in '72. Imagine all the wonderful fuzz rock of Witch mixed with jazz elements, and you'll get Demon Fuzz. Demon Fuzz is really fucking cool. Only got, let's see, 5 songs, 5 tracks, but they're all like 9 minutes long or something like that. So you get a lot for that. Donald Austin, Crazy Legs, re-released in 2018 by Tidal Waves Music. Donald Austin is just really, really funky. It's funk and it's soul, but it's really funky. You like some Parliament Maggot Brain or something, you would like this. It's got 13 tracks in a really short runtime of only 34 minutes and 58 seconds. But man, it seems like way longer because you're so into the music. It's the first time it's been released since '72. And it was only limited to 500 copies on its re-release. So if you haven't tracked it down yet, you better get to it. I think it goes for an average of about $26. High end, maybe $33, but yeah, grab that before it's not available again. Already talked about Donnie and Joe Emerson Dreamin' Wild on the last podcast. Drab Majesty is a band from I got a release from 2015, 2017, 2019. Careless, The Demonstration, and Modern Mirror. You can't go wrong with Drab Majesty. Ever since I found them, I am enamored with them in much the way that I am with Choir Boy or She Passed Away, Sisters of Mercy, Clan of Zymox, stuff like that. Check out any of their albums, but their newest is Modern Mirror. My favorite's probably The Demonstration. Very 80s sounding synth music with guitar. Let's see, what else have I grabbed recently? Scroll down a little further through the crate. Several crates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 crates to be exact. And that's the Herbie Hancock and the Hot Snakes. Ice Cube. Snagged a couple Jack Off Jill releases. Clear Hearts, Gray Flowers, Sexless Demons, and Scars. If you're into the whole 2000s era, like 2006, Marilyn Manson, Antichrist Superstar, stuff like that. You want to hear a female vocalist do that stuff. Very, very lovely. But still want that kind of metal, gothy feel. And definitely grab some Jack Off Jill. Ooh, Jackie Shane, Any Other Way. So this is a funk and soul album. It was re-released in 2017. Really interesting release by Jackie Shane. So U.S. American vocalist, born in 1940 in Nashville, Tennessee, relocated to Canada and worked up in Toronto and Montreal in the club scene. One of the first transgender women, and definitely atypical for that era, to be doing this type of music. At times in this funk and soul and rhythm and blues, you hear a little bit of Elvis Presley or somebody like that. You definitely hear a lot of female influence. Her vocals are like deep voiced female or light voiced male sounding. Really cool that transgender was doing music of this type back then. Got better success in Canada, probably a little bit more open-minded in Canada than down in the States, I imagine. But this album is amazing, and the track Any Other Way, it just stands out as being the best on the album. Title track. Let's see, Karen Dalton, In My Own Time. If you're into some folk, grab that. I will say I grabbed Lightning Dust Spectre because I have their self-titled Infinite Light and Fantasy, so I have all their other releases, and those 3 releases don't have a song that I dislike on the entire 3 albums. I grabbed Spectre blind, didn't listen to any of it, actually pre-ordered it when it came. I was highly disappointed. It's the worst Lightning Dust album that's been put out. This is after the 2 people in the project went from having this as a side project to their other band, Black Mountain, to it actually announcing that it was going to be their main project. It seems like a very lazy release, and I hope that if this is going to be their main project and they do another release, it's not going to be as bad as Spectre. And don't get me wrong, I love Lightning Dust, but I do not know what happened with this album. It's kind of a piece of crap. I listened to it twice, and I don't have any intention on listening to it again. Unusual for a 10-inch record to be grabbed by me, but I grabbed Max Schrager, Thoughts of You. Came out in 2016. Has a song called Sophia on it that is phenomenal. It opens up the album. Really, really, really good. It's just indie rock, but I mean, it's really, really good. It's got a awesome cover. Looks like an old nudie Polaroid or something. Definitely captures the essence of what the music sounds like. So, yeah, grab that Max Schrager, Thoughts of You. Let's see. Kind of consider this my Christmas present, but I got Moby Grape 69. I've always been a Moby Grape fan, like Grape Jam and others. But Moby Grape 69 is one of the Moby Grape albums that seem to always pass me by. They did a re-release on purple vinyl on Sundays. Um, I probably would have preferred to have it on black vinyl if it were up to me, but this was the only way I could find it. It was a little bit pricey, but I said fuck it, and I bought it anyway because I really, really wanted to have it. I've been listening to it in heavy rotation for a while, ever since I got it. Um, but sorry for my phone dinging there. Um, maybe I'll cut that out. You won't even know. Or maybe I'll just leave it in because I'm lazy. We'll see what the case is. Let's see here. Dig through these crits more. I got Osric Tentacles, The Bits Between the Bits. Osric Tentacles, this was released in Germany, 2015. They're electronic rock, dub, space rock. I'd say psychedelic as well. Um, they're an English band formed in '83 in Somerset. Uh, Definitely acid rock and just a real slick sound. It's really ambitious. Just in this album, it's a really good album. It came from a collection of records from a drummer who had passed away, and his family is selling off all of his records on consignment through a record store that I like to go to locally. Don't really want to give it away any more than that, because then somebody might buy all the records I want to go back and grab. But yeah, really, really awesome Osric Tentacles release. Uh, this shocked the shit out of me that I was actually able to get this. It was the 1994 UK pressing of Popweed itself, Dos Didos Mi Amigos. Now, Popweed itself is normally more of an electronic band, but in this album, they were getting ready to potentially get signed to Nothing Records and tour with Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson, and they released this kind of metal and electronic industrial version of what their music normally is. I was in love with this album when it first came out. It was immediately pulled off the shelf because Nothing Records didn't have the rights to release it in the United States. I was digging through CD releases in a store in Chicago, came across this album, snagged it up right away. They didn't know what they had. I think I paid like $6 for it. Took it home, listened to it till it didn't work anymore. So this is very deeply rooted into my high school years. They even had their music video to Eat Being I Now Slander on an episode of Beavis and Butthead. There's some awesome songs on here, like Me No Fear the Reaper or Cape Connection, Underbelly, Kick the Kill, Familias Horribilius. Or so, like, the whole album in its entirety is fucking phenomenal. And it's my favorite Popweed itself album. I was really happy to get it. It's not cheap, but I guess in '86 is when they got together. Popweed itself's the most notable member by far. is Clint Mansell, who you will know from doing every soundtrack to everything that possibly exists in recent years. I think he did The Fountain. He also did that DC series Doom Patrol. He did the theme song for that. I mean, he's just everywhere. But he originally came from Pop Weed itself. Another nostalgic album, Q and Not You, No Kill, No Beat Beat. Indie rock at its finest on Discord Records, released 2009. This was right at the end of, well, at least my version was released in 2009. I think it came out quite a bit before that. Um, but let's check on that because I'm curious. First released in 2000. Yeah. 2009 seemed way too new. My version came out in 2009. This is 2005 post-hardcore band founded in 98 in Washington, D.C., disbanded in 2005. This is every song from beginning to end is the best that you can possibly get. If I could just add one song to it, it would be, they had this song called like 10,000 Animal Calls, but there was a remix of it. That remix is better than the original. If that song could just be slapped on the end, I wouldn't need any more Q and Not You. Their other albums don't stand out as much to me. But Q and Not You, No Kill, No Beat Beat. If you want to understand where my music tastes evolved from the Smiths to more modern stuff, I definitely passed through Q and Not You to get there. So you had the Smiths and the Cure, and then you kind of started to get like this Q and Not You, which was like not as heavy and weird as the Blood Brothers, but definitely a part of that scene. I could see them playing a show together. I don't know if they ever did, but it would not surprise me. Let's dig a little bit further in here past my Ritual House, which I'd also recommend any album by them. Run the Jewels, stuff like that. Scott Walker. I grabbed the Shag's Philosophy of the World the other day. Experimental garage rock, definitely a little bit of outsider music. Three girls, part of a family band. They were formed in New Hampshire in 1968. Just three kids, and their parents were really supportive. Played in a family band for a while. Really influential to a lot of people that take a little bit of an outsider philosophy to doing music. I recommend grabbing it. Sometimes their songs are a little hard to get used to, but if you already kind of listen to stuff on the weirder side, then there you go. Sharon Van Etten, Remind Me Tomorrow, released on Jaguar, who also put out Lightning Dust albums. It's a pop album. There's a song called 17. It's the first song on side B. That's the song that made me buy this album, and it is amazing. And it's got a cool record cover of some kids that trash their room. One of them's naked in a Tupperware tub, and it's ridiculous. But yeah, released in January of 2019, so only about a year old. Definitely grab that. Let's see. I go past all my slow dive Smashing Pumpkins. I'm not typically a Smashing Pumpkins fan, but I found a really cheap copy of Siamese Dream on vinyl, so I picked it up. Earlier Pumpkins I can deal with. Later Pumpkins, not so much. Okay, I'm going to talk way too much about this album because I fucking love it and nobody else gets it. Merge Records in 2019 released Highway Hypnosis, the album by Sneaks, an electronic rock post-punk sounding album. Sneaks was formed in 2014 in Washington, D.C. Just a single girl. I think her name's Eva Molchan, I think was her name. But definitely reminds me of MIA or like, I don't even know. It's so weird. And some of the songs on here, probably my favorite, The Way It Goes. Man, just such a good fucking album. And it's a shame because a lot of people just disregard pop music, and it's really, really, really good pop music. And it's rare that, something that's just pop will speak to me the way that album does. But I definitely enjoy listening to it. Got a crap ton of Sparks albums here, but that's no surprise. Spilling, Spiritualized, Stabbing Westward. Not going to get into my Stabbing Westward shit again. I don't even want to look at this album right now. I'm just going to keep going. Steel Corners, Death, God, I can't even talk. Steel Corners, Dead Blue. Great fucking electronic rock, synth pop. It's really ethereal. 2016 release. It's Greg Hughes and Teresa Murray. They formed 2007. Yeah, 2007. They've got a new album out called Slow Air that I've yet to hear. I'll probably snag a copy of it because this album is fucking awesome. And songs like Currents and Dream Horse are amazing. Lost Boys, so fucking good. If you like electronic rock music at all, check out Still Corners, Dead Blue. Sen Ra, Swerve Driver, Horse Television, Marquee Moon. It's another one that should be in every record collection. Temper's Private Life, not as good as Services, but a very good new release. Came out in October 2019 on the Deus record label that I was talking about. Their dark wave, synth pop, from New York City, although the lead singer, she's female, she's from somewhere else. She was born in Florida, but she's Latvian Iranian in descent, and then she grew up in Paris and London before moving to New York. So she's got a very unique voice, and Services is a phenomenal album. I cannot track down a copy of it, and it seems to go for like about $100 or more if you can find one. So I grabbed their new one, Private Life, as a pre-order. I'm not disappointed by it. It's just not as good as their last effort. I don't really talk about the harder stuff that much. I mean, I would like to talk about a lot more of it. I just don't own it. I would like to buy the new Portal album or something, but I haven't. But one I did break down and buy from July of 2019 is Tomb Mold, Planetary Clairvoyance. if you like some hard fucking black metal and death metal, I guess it'd be more death metal than black metal. But if you're into that and Canadian, uh, Toronto, Ontario based uh, band sounds up your alley and you just want to hear this type of music done right, grab this album. It's I get kind of weird with these metal bands' album covers, and I think it looks stupid. And their logos are one of those that you basically can't read it. But I've just grown to accept that with the genres that I don't vibe with this kind of corny H.R. Geiger artwork. I mean, I like H.R. Geiger's artwork, but this sounds like it looks like a corny, version of what he does. But artwork aside, and not being able to read what the name of the band is, it starts out with like Beg for Life. It's 6 minutes and 51 seconds long. It's the longest song on the album, and it's track one. That's what I want when I hear something like this. And it's, 7 tracks of just brutal on top of brutal on top of brutal. So that's up your alley. Grab that. I can't go any further unless I mention a new find for me, an 80s band called Tones on Tail. I got their self-titled and Pop. Pop is probably my favorite. I think they released all the songs from all the albums on a CD recently, and it's even on Spotify. I think it's just called Everything. They didn't release it on vinyl. So I went back and I tracked down these individual vinyls, and Pop is like put out on Beggar's Banquet in '84 in the UK. This is an original pressing. 9 tracks. Lions is probably my favorite song, and it's also the first song on the album. Really, really good. Tones on Tail, it says it was originally intended as an outlet for Bauhaus guitarist Daniel Ash to record his more experimental material, which I did not know that he was even, in the band. They surfaced in '82. They had a 12-inch EP on 480 Records. With the subsequent demise of Bauhaus in '83, this project was turned into a proper band, but they didn't really last much longer than 1984. Bandmates David J. Went to form Love and Rockets in 1985, which are really awesome. So how I missed this between Bauhaus and the Love and Rockets connection is beyond me. But if you're a fan of Bauhaus and you like Love and Rockets and perhaps Sisters of Mercy, or you're listening to Drab Majesty and you're not that familiar with some of this early stuff, or She Passed Away, anything like that, go back and listen to Tones on Tail. They're really, really good. Of course, I snagged Tyler, the Creator, Igor. I think I've already expressed my feelings on that. I grabbed VR Sex, Human Traffic Jam from this year, also on Deus Records, that Tempers. Just a really interesting electronic death rock, lo-fi kind of thing. It's an audio-visual band playing synth punk, post-punk, ambient, ethereal sounds. Yeah, just very electronic. I definitely recommend that. I got this 2013 repress compilation. It's a 3 vinyl set called Those Shocking Shaking Days, Indonesian Hard Psych, Progressive Rock, and Funk, 1970 to 1978. The title says it all. It's hard rock, psychedelic rock, funk, 1970, 1978, and it's Indonesian. A little bit of jazz in there too. Great, great triple disc set. Like, fucking amazing. Shout out to White Ring, Wipers, Words and Actions. Getting towards the end of my collection here. We'll speak about a Russian release I got from Molchat Doma. They're on, trying to pronounce this, it's Dimitri, I'm guessing, Dimitri Records. Anything on Dimitri Records is good. It's electronic, lo-fi, new wave, rock, stuff. But this Molchat Doma release is one of the coolest Russian electronic rock albums going, and definitely one of the best on the label. Post-punk, synth-pop, new wave. They're from Minsk. They're part of the Minsk post-punk scene, apparently. And everything I've checked out in that scene is fucking incredible. Really, really, really good electronic album. Grab Molchat Doma. I'm pretty sure the album's self-titled, but it's Russian, so it's really hard to read. Maybe it's not. Or no, I guess it's not. It's ETAZHI is the name of the album. But put out by Molchat Doma, which is MOLCHAT space DOMA, if you're trying to spell that with English stuff, letters, stuff. Released in Germany. I thought this was Russian. It's Russian, German, and Minsk. It's capital of Belarus. So, yeah, really hard to track down exactly everything going on with this album, because it seems kind of complex in its releasing. But, yeah, Molchat Doma. Well, that's been crate digging. Been dug through all my crates. I don't even know when I'll be able to do this again. I'll have to buy some more records or have to find some that are more of note. I obviously have a lot more records than what I mentioned, but I kind of talked about some that I was skipping by. I don't know. Maybe I have some more in there. Definitely keep grabbing them. Maybe we'll do this with books or comic books next time. But this has been Kyle for a while, and I'm done with it. Later.